we actually have Cheeto from the Horde on the stream. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Man, it is nice to be here, to be promoted from the comments section. So hello to you and the entire chat, man.
Yeah, how this all started was basically I faced Cheeto in war. Now there's only one other person that I've lost to in war since I've joined Asylum, and that was Josh Lang. It was a decent base design. Next time round, 300. No worry about it. And I knew where I went wrong. Did rush a bit, but then I actually faced Cheeto's base, which on the screen, and really struggled. 3 times, got nowhere close. Timing out, just tried different rosters, nothing seemed to work. So I thought it'd be a really good idea to get Cheeto on the stream, talk about his base, talk about the game a bit and what he enjoys about it, things like that. And really sort of, like I said, focus on base design, because I feel like there's not a lot of people that follow through with base design and really take a note of it. You get a lot of people that copy other people's base, which is fine. Again, not everyone is that person that creates design. So, do you want to give a bit of an introduction about yourself, how long you played the game, what alliance you're in, stuff like that?
So they call me Cheeto. I come from the Horde, home of the Fighting Llamas. Been playing the game probably about 10 years now. I think I got on just after launch. Been with Top Alliances the majority of my little TFEW career here, and yeah, base design's always been like a great aspect to the game to me. Now, this particular design right here, it comes from GC1. Grabbed one of those guys' designs, and I got to say, right now in the game, I think those are some of the most talented base designers out there right now.
It can be hard to design bases, but sometimes you look at a certain base design and think, yeah, that's good, but I think I can make it a bit better. Is that generally what you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I like to blueprint a lot of my own stuff, and there's probably a lot of my stuff out there floating around. But then a lot of times, I like to go and look at other people that I know have the same passion for that part of the game, and maybe get some inspiration for something from them. Kind of see what direction I think that they were trying to go, and if I had some of my own ideas, maybe they would correlate off one each other, and the collabs usually just come out banging. As the metas changed, the designs change as well. And I think we all kind of know that the game may be a little bit lopsided on the offensive side of things now. So there's not a lot of drive to be consistently changing bases.
So obviously we talk about base designs trying to achieve something. So what would you say is like the main thing of this base? What the problems with it? Why is it designed the way it is? What's it trying to achieve?
The first thing that I come up with is like, what am I trying to prevent? What am I trying to halter? And obviously, when we talk meta, we want to talk what bots are most prevalent in the game, what tactics, what tactics are just extremely prevalent and obvious in the game right now. So that's usually where I start. In a sense, I guess you kind of work your way backwards. This space in particular spoke to me because with the defensive aspect being a little weakened at the moment, I think this space is excellent in that it's really good at splitting up your bots. It's asymmetrical, which is a great concept. It's really good at dissecting the bots and getting stragglers, and that's what this space has a enormous tendency to do.
Yeah, well, when I was attacking it, and again, don't know if that's intentional or not, I found that I struggled to take out big chunks of it, how I do normally, to try and speed it up. And because I couldn't take big chunks out at a low cost, it slowed me down. And so because it slowed me down quite badly, I ended up timing out. Now, I obviously know what Outpost spots you've got in there. We're going to talk about that shortly. And it's no coincidence that's what caused it, because it is crazy the sort of levels that you do reach. Now, if anyone's sort of thinking, who's this Cheeto guy? I've seen him on the stream. This is to give you an idea. This is his kind of, what do I say, his resume. So this is his team that he uses, 75k power.
It's not really about that number, because you can throw a team together and reach astronomical numbers. It's about the consistency with the team and how it's structured together, and there has to be a reason behind the madness. That number doesn't really speak volumes. I've seen numerous talented players that achieve astronomical feats with very low power teams, and many guys that have very few ranked bots.
So, how many max bots have you got roughly?
It's I probably got over 70 something max spots. I think I'm pushing 30 generals. I heard somebody had 30 generals out there, so I had to get back to it, and we can't have that.
How many level 11 combats or weapons you got roughly?
The majority of my combats are level 11, both 5-star and 4-star, and the majority of my weapons are. Granted, there's a few I don't use very much, so I those haven't prioritized, but I will get to them.
So, look at your base design. So, we've got two FFDs, two fancy fire cores, and one electric core. So, what's the reason for that selection then of two FFDs, two fire, and one electric?
I think FFDs are always going to be prevalent. Those are always going to have a major impact, and sometimes with your other elemental BBs, those have a tendency to get overlooked with the prioritization of taking out, the elemental BB that's obviously probably going to affect your squad. Uh, Fire and EMP, those are probably the most used elemental AOE bots right now. When you think SGN, things of that nature, you're thinking it's usually going to be some kind of fire related bot, or right now there's a lot of electric going on. So I definitely got to have one of those in, and I like to have those off the SGN because that's the estrogen's going to be and I mean, the shield generator by that, and that's just going to be. I don't care who you are. That's going to be some sort of prioritization somewhere along the lines of your attack. But yeah, that's why I choose those FFDs, and sometimes I'll put a fire one or something down low. A lot of times that's not going to do a whole lot. They're going to quickly take that out and then proceed. I like them up top. I like to when I'm spacing those out. I like to think skull smasher attacks. I like to think I want to take their long distance range bots out down low so that maybe they have limited options when it comes up there when it gets to that point. And yeah, we can elaborate from there. But that's the reason I choose those, and they do vary based on meta, based on base design, based on. But with this particular design, with most of the defenses being up top, those are the ones I chose.
So, the fire I kind of get because you've got obviously Rustus and Scavenger, you've got Sunstreaker and Swindle. So, yeah, I'm huge in the meta right now, even Leo Prime and T2, stuff like that. But electric, so who you try to mainly counter with electric?
I think that's going to be like Antagony on the Decepticon. I think is that Tasmanian Kid for you
Yeah,
guys?
yeah.
Yeah, so she's big right now. So you definitely want to have something to that effect, and of course you still got a few of those guys that love TC with Thundercracker, and do that Thundercracker drop with Growl and things like that. So you want to have at least one electric element, and because I only had one, I opted to put that next to the S-Gen.
Outpost wise, so we're going to look at the outpost spots in a minute. So what's the idea of the placement? Well, so you've got two in the middle, then you've got one higher up, and then two higher up with the combiner. So what's the idea behind the placement of the outpost as well?
Well, you definitely want to have those spaced out. You don't want any of your ops clustered. And if you do have them clustered, whether it be two or three, they definitely need to have some kind of symmetry where they feed off each other, or where they work. And if you're going to have them spaced, I mean, there's got to be a rationalization for that as well. So, what I have down low is, or for this particular base, I had Headstrong, who is he all my ops are general. Headstrong, where's the Liege Core? And he's basically my time consumer, and I like him down low so that he's eating up the clock, and I have him paired with Mind Wipe. So while and then also with Headstrong, he's going to have Borrow, so he's removing shields and he's non-hackable, while Mind Wipe does his thing, which is going to make the team turn on each other. You remove the shields, have the team turn on each other. I'm trying to initiate a decision at that point already. Either it's going to be quite time consuming, or you want to try to get through that quickly to proceed through the base. And we always want to try to get that combiner dropped as fast as we can, right? So that the team is left to their own devices as they proceed through the match. The next one up is going to be Run Amok. I have Run Amok there in the middle, next to a Leech Core. He does not have anything that's going to render him not being hacked, but that's not really essential to his job. when you think sack mode, it's either going to be a growl drop or it's going to be like a D cup sack, something to that effect. So that liege core is there next to Muck, while and that's going to kind of help assist in disrupting things. And we know Muck is going to shield defenses. So I want him shielding those defenses, both front and back, so that that sack bot can take um, the most amount of damage possible. And I want to try to eliminate him from that second hop or that second jump. And that's kind of his role right there. And in addition, so Muck is wearing his, if I'm not mistaken, he's wearing his G1, and I got Tiger Crest on Muck. It boosts his health up immensely, and it still kind of plays into the effect once the team has got past my first set. The cryo from Muck, and with the addition of shielding the defenses, the cryo is going to assist in slowing that team down as they proceed. So again, we're all kind of going with the mindset of either a timeout or we're going to eliminate some along the way, and that's where we are midway in this match now.
And then on defense combiner wise, you've got is it
I've
Laukaiser?
got I've got Leo. I've got Leo, and I'm using his 5-star ability again. The cryo with the similar effect. We're trying to slow bots down. We're trying to get to once they make it to the top of the base. And I know I'm jumping forward a little bit, but once they make it to the top of the base, we want them to not only keep an eye on those defenses, the remaining defenses and the two ops that are left, but now they're watching the clock. They're watching the clock, which is going to initiate some hasty decisions. It's do or die. And consistent with the layout of the particular wall setup of that base, that's going to just kind of multiply with the hope that we have split bots up by this point. So now you're dealing with a whole lot of slowdown effects, probably a few stragglers. So unless you've really rallied the team and you've made it up to this point, I mean, we're already in a little bit of a distraught.
And then the top two Outpost bots.
Top two outpost spots I had on this particular base are going to be Coelagon. Well, Coelagon he's kind of got multi purposes. I got him up there. Obviously, we got high DPS. The dude's going to move at a staggering amount of speed. So we're trying to use him to take out maybe a straggler that's walked around the side, not quite kept with the group. High DPS is gonna work great in that aspect. Of course, we got Deluge. We know he's not the time constraint he used to be, but I mean, let's be honest, he's still top tier OP bot. So now if we've made it through the other four, we got Deluge and the clock as our last opponents before we finish the match.
So I think when Deluge obviously had his nerf, a lot of people worried that it's going to disappear from defense. So you still think he's viable?
I do still think he's viable. I do not think he is the monster he once was,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely still viable. Definitely still worth the investment. You know, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that's not using him, or uh, it'd be a solid debate on who you would choose over him.
So then I mentioned it today to ask you for Outpost bots, and you told me that you changed two. So what was the reason for changing two of them? Who did you change? Who for? What was the reasoning?
I like to try new things. I mean, that's how things get discovered. I'm going to put this guy in and see how he acts. I had high hopes for exhaust. Glad that guy's finally fixed. We actually have side today, so I wasn't going to experiment. But I do have one I recently changed out was I swapped out Headstrong, and I'm trying Dinobot. I got Dinobot obviously as a general, and I got him with Onyx, and then also have him with a Star Saber, level 11, 5 stars. So, and the reason I went with Dinobot is because, man, you're looking at, especially with the addition of Star Saber, now he has 4 holos, and then you got Star Saber. So you're looking at 5 holos and your OP bot. So that's essentially six bots right there on the field. You add that to your other remaining four. I mean, that's going to be quite the time constraint unless planned out properly.
And then you put Demolisher in as well.
I guess it's an ego thing, man. I've had
Yeah.
Demolisher as for a while, obviously. There's a constant push pull personal preference thing when you talk exhaust, Cuddy, uh, Demolisher, but on Defense, Demolisher is an astounding bot, and he's just astounding. He's going to cover that hack coverage. So if you do happen to have, when we talk about cluster OPs, you're going to do that, and you have something like the likes of Demolisher. Yeah, he's gonna provide that hack coverage, so it's gonna open up your options for other defensive cores on your bots. And yeah, dude, he's just at general, got that extra perk, and I have him next to Mind Wipe currently and Dinobot. So Dinobot, following along the lines of time constraint, now you got Demolisher who's shielding these two, giving them hack protection, which is only going to prolong the health and survivability of Dinobot after once Overload's shield deteriorates. And then I have Tip Top on, which is a great combat, by the way. I have him on Overload. So you got the hacking going on from Mind Wipe, and then after Overload uses his ability, he's going to hit you with Tip Top, man. See, you're trying to fight all this off and prolong dropping that binder when I am trying to get you to drop it early so that you're ill prepared for the rest of the battle.
People sometimes will copy Outpost bots and put them in, but where they are is so important. Like where the outposts are, like you said, mine placement. There's no point just having like mines and put wherever and think I'll put it there. Your mine placement is so important. I mean, I generally don't defend against sack. If I'm to be honest, I have a thing about it that I just feel like no matter what I do, I can't. And so I generally use a lot of glass gas. So again, my idea is that I use a lot of glass gas, and then people take a lot of damage, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm taking a lot of damage. I don't know why. I'm a good at my combiner. And that's sort of what I try and force. But like you said, but the placement of those mines is so important, especially if you're using the anti-transformation mines. If you're trying to stop a sack, it is possible in certain bots, but not all of them because there's so many options. So in terms of your mine placement that you sort of mentioned, so what are you using your mines for primarily?
Currently, I'm doing DE6. So when I make a base, I keep that's going to be forefront of my mind. And when I'm attacking, because obviously that's what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking, how do I attack? How would I try to stop me? And when I do DE sacks, I try to think way outside the box. Like, why would there be a mine way over here? So that's where I'm going to jump him to try. It may be an extra stopping point to try to get to my desired destination, but that's what I try to eliminate. Obviously, everybody's going to have the mines on the sides, down low. They're going to have them next to a defensive object that you could utilize for your choice of bot to use to get to your ops to pop them. And I'm trying to put something somewhere where yeah, you're gonna struggle trying to get to where you need to be, and it's the same thing. And if you make it past that mine to get to your first designated spot, then I want to have something there waiting for you so you don't reach the second spot. So inevitably, your team's going to have to either walk through the mine or you're going to have planned forefront and have a secondary pop option to get these ops open.
Cool.
But yeah, it just depends on the base, man. It depends on if you're trying to, like I said, if you're trying to segregate bots from the team, if you're trying to funnel them into a kill zone, and again, and then that's going to be where I change ops. They're going to be more prevalent for the design.
Huge thank you for Cheeto for coming on the stream. Much appreciated. I tried to get a few players on and everyone sort of turned me down. And as soon as I said Cheeto, I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. So big thank you to Cheeto. So thanks, buddy.
Oh man, without a doubt. Love your stream, man. Anytime, anywhere, dude. I'm there. You know it.